Let's first look at how a blog post could easily turn into a Blogzilla over time and what you should do to avoid it. And when you have an article that's doing pretty well already, you want to improve upon it to make it rank even better, right? Now that's called upgrading old content, and there are lots of articles about it. And that's no wonder, because according to some, upgrading your old content can be up to 58% more efficient than writing new articles. And Moz has posted an article explaining the importance of the freshness effect of content in search rankings. It's why upgrading old content is an important part of my overall content strategy as well. You can look at different tools to see which blog posts can be improved upon, like SEMrush and Ahrefs, but I like to stick with the trusty old free Google Search Console. Now I've identified Teppanyaki at Home as my target page to upgrade, and I'll show you why a little later on. Now once you know which post to update, you can look at what you could add to improve it. Now have you ever had that tip? Look at your Search Console data, at what keywords you're ranking for, and optimize for those as well. It's what big sites like Search Engine Land have written about, and it can be a good strategy. Don't follow this advice to the letter though, because for one, this article is from 2020, and we all know that SEO changes faster than the stock market after China's collapse. And you can't be stuck investing in the market or your site with outdated info. One of the concepts that's been talked about a lot since then is search intent. Now let's decode this some more and look at what I did wrong so you can avoid it, and what I'm going to do to fix it. Hi, my name is Joost, the Content Decoder, and there's just so much to unpack here. We have a few concepts like search intent, search console, and the keywords you are ranking for. Now, Google Search Console is the free tool Google provides to help webmasters. Are they still being called webmasters, Grandpa? It can tell you a lot of things, and one of them is the amount of searches your page shows up for and what those searches were. So I'll explain it with teppanyaki. It's a Japanese cooking style that's really popular at hibachi restaurants, and it's an important page on my site. And here are the searches my article on Teppanyaki at Home is being shown for on Google as a possible answer. I funneled the Search Console data to Google Data Studio, another free tool of Google that you can use to visualize data because, well, I'm a nerd and that's what nerds do. So back in 2020, when this advice still looked solid, I took these keywords and added more info about that on the page. I thought I'd have a real shot ranking for things like teppanyaki or what is teppanyaki instead of just the teppanyaki at home. Then I saw there were some recipes in the SERP, so we should add that too. And then some FAQs. Well, that's brilliant. We can write everything there is to find about this topic. And here we are at 6,000 words. And that's also the problem with having no constraints, having no borders to your puzzle pieces. You just can't know where to stop. My article was starting to decline in the search results, being shown less prominent for my main keyword, and I wasn't very successful in gaining traction for those extra keywords. The problem here is search intent. I've heard a lot of advice over the years to write for multiple search intents you see in the SERP to cover all of your bases. I've also used tools that kind of promote this like Surf SEO and POP, Page Optimizer Pro, and if they aren't used wisely, you can make a mess of an article, well, like I did. And then Google showed me the way, took me by the hand and said, quality content is content created to satisfy a user intent. It's a user intent. Just one. And then they showed me that sites can rank for multiple intents for the same keyword with different pages. Google was telling me, it's okay. You can write about all of this stuff. I know you're passionate about teppanyaki and you want to share your knowledge. Just don't do it in one place. Someone looking to learn more about teppanyaki at home isn't going to want to read about the full history of teppanyaki or how teppanyaki is actually different from hibachi. And someone wanted to make a specific recipe isn't going to want to read about the tools you need. I'm going to go through step by step how you can turn your Blogzilla into multiple articles that target different intents. Okay, so let's look at everything we have in here. Okay, 6,800 words, it's even more than 6,000. For the ingredients, a teppanyaki recipe, how teppanyaki cooking is performed in countries other than Japan, popular dishes, teppanyaki cookbooks, teppanyaki chef tools that they can use. Oh, this is a lot. This is actually really a lot. A little bit about what tools you need is fine, I think, for cooking teppanyaki at home, but this is just a full review article. And this is how you get to 6,800 words. This is really a Blogzilla. Teppanyaki is an art form, the history and the art form of teppanyaki. I just want to know how to make it at home. So this is all great information, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't belong in an article about teppanyaki at home. The beginning of teppanyaki and the final thoughts. Oh, the final thoughts are also like 1,000-word conclusion here. Okay, we could lose a lot of this content, but we could also use it to create other articles as well, supporting articles. Okay, so here's how I restructured it. I have a lot less words now, it's 1,238 words, and the rest is all in separate articles. I had a lot of recipes in there, and I cut those up into separate recipes. And I think someone Googling this is looking to what they can do to make it at home. So I have a few different recipes here. And I did that with the WP Recipe Maker. It's like a carousel of recipes. It's I think Google can pick up to see that there are multiple recipes in here, and it can actually show up for a carousel card as well when someone's Googling this. A small part about teppanyaki chef supplies, but we have a separate article now for that. So that's the tools you need for teppanyaki, a link to there. I talk about selecting the right grill, but briefly, and I also have a separate buying guide for that as well now. A small section about why you should make teppanyaki at home, and then that's pretty much the conclusion that I'm ending with here. So this article is kept pretty small. It's just a lot of articles to recipes that someone can use, and a few tips on where they can start, like buying the right tools and buying a grill if they don't have any yet. Now, it's always hard to cut up something that already gets traffic. You never know with 100% certainty that what you're doing is actually what Google will reward going into it. But I had to try because I know it's the right thing to do. It's not about how thick a book is, but it's about the value it brings to the reader and the answer they are looking for at the moment of Googling something. And I wasted their time by burying the lead all the way in the middle somewhere in this book, when I should have put it right up front. Maybe even before the table of contents. And now we have an article that's perfect for the person looking for substitutes. And if he or she does want to know about the history or an authentic recipe, we'll leave in a nice link so they can go off and read some more about that. Now, let the rankings start coming in again. You should click on this video to learn about my journey to get another site to $32 per month after just 4 months without any paid tools, just by answering some questions.